Hello, everyone. Oh, wait. No, not yet. Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're looking after yourselves. Welcome to another episode of the Hustle Chronicles, the second episode of 2026. We hope you're all doing well and enjoying your days. We are recording this not only with an amazing guest speaker who I'll get into in just a moment, and you'll learn more about their journey very shortly, but you will also be celebrating because this week of recording is 5 years Pick Up the Mic as a business, which is amazing. And I need to quickly jump off screen so I can press the... There we go. We can't hear it in the room, but there is applause going off right now. So this is even more poignant to discuss the world of entrepreneurship, the highs, the lows, and all the fun things in between. And who better to invite on to discuss this cool stuff than Felix? As you know, I don't like doing introductions because I think we should hear from the incredible people that come into the podcast themselves. So instead, I'm going to hand over to our today's guest. Felix, thank you very much for coming on. It's a pleasure to have you on. Could we know a bit more about you and what you do?
Yeah. So, hey everyone, my name is Felix Ochefu. I love to travel, I love technology, and I love the intersection of both. Yeah. I am the founder and CEO of Kahana, and Kahana is a group travel technology company, and we build software to make it easy for people to travel together. The problem we're solving is, I'll give a quick example. Imagine you wanted to book an Uber and you had to open one app to check if this car's available, a second app to book the car, a third app to pay for the car, and a fourth app to talk to the driver. Yeah. That's a horrible experience. Very fragmented, multiple tools. Nobody would use Ubers if that was how you had to book a car, right? But in travel, that's the experience that we have. You know, you're trying to manage everything in WhatsApp or in a spreadsheet. You're searching 50 different links to find the best deals for flights, hotels, experiences. You're trying to send and manage all of that in a group chat that people forget to reply for 3 days when you need to actually make the booking in 2 days. Yeah. When it comes to paying, either one person upfronts the cost and pays everybody, or people pay individually and you have no visibility into who has paid what by when. And they're all happening in different places. You know, so the thesis behind Kahana is, we believe you can do all of those things in one place, in one seamless end-to-end journey. And that's the technology that we've been building for about 3 years now, and testing and iterating and getting better. So yeah, I love to travel. Kahana was inspired by a trip I did with my friends to France. We were interrailing. If anybody has never interrailed before, I'd highly recommend. Please interrail. And I just felt like the experience planning and booking the trip could be easier. Why did we have to manage multiple products and websites to find the best deals? Could we just use one? Where's the information coming from? So it was inspired by that trip. The trip was incredible, but I couldn't stop thinking about, how to make the experience of planning and booking trips better and much more seamless. Yeah. So I decided to, have a crack at it, and I've been building since then.
That's incredible, man. It's actually funny that you mentioned that trip, because that's the first question. So this is all about, essentially, for a lot of entrepreneurs, the pain point that they experience can become the product or service that they then go on to start. Yeah. So take us back to that group chat. What exactly went wrong, and what was the moment that you thought, okay, I got to do something about this. This can't continue. Yeah. I'm going to build something to change this experience so others don't have to go through this.
Yeah, so it was me and two of my friends from boarding school, and we had finished university, and we had all done well, and we wanted to gift ourselves a trip as a congratulation to ourselves for working hard. So we said, let's interrail. I had done interrailing with one of my friends before, where we took trains across Europe. So we went from London to Amsterdam, Amsterdam to Munich, Amsterdam to Cologne, Cologne to Munich, and Munich to Venice. And this time we wanted to do an interrail within France specifically. So we're planning it, looking for hotels, looking for accommodations, talking to friends to see if we can stay with one or two of our friends while we're there. And it was specifically managing all the links in the group chat that was pissing me off, essentially. It's just one of my friends just wouldn't reply on time. When he'd reply, he would say, oh, which link did we say we liked again? Like, which was it this one or that one, or you know? And this is going to while back. This is like 2018, 2019, you know. So I was just like, surely there's a better way of doing this. I remember us talking about payments, and of course, post uni, you know, everyone's broke, no one has a lot of money. So, you know, we were like, okay, you pay for this accommodation, then you know I'll pay for this one, and then we can split this one. But then I'll pay you back in drinks when I get there, or you know, I will buy you, you know, food when I get there. Like, you know, we're trying to manage all of these across different cities in France, right? So I was like, surely, like, there's a better way of doing this, you know. Surely we can have more visibility into all the tools that we are that we're using to plan and book this trip. So the trip was a success eventually. But I just kept on thinking to myself, we're only 3 people. If this was 10 or 15 or 20, this would be like unruly, right? So group travel has what we call exponential complexity. The experience gets worse. The experience of planning specifically gets worse the bigger the trip gets.
100%.
That's why people have to then resort to things like spreadsheets, you know, to manage all the preferences and different things. And I think spreadsheets is a crazy thing to need to plan a trip, right? So, but it's something that we're so used to doing. And I just felt like it wasn't good enough because I love technology. I always have since I was young. I love seamless technology. I professionally, my background is solutions architecture. So I train as a business analyst. So my bread and butter is solving large, complex technology problems. And fragmentation is a technology problem. So I could very clearly see that the issue with this was a fragmentation problem. And fragmentation is the thing that is blocking people from experiencing life-changing trips with people.
Of course.
So I would meet people who would say, because I didn't want to assume at the time that I was the only one who thought this experience was shit. You know? So I was okay, who else thinks it's bad? Let me see, because if I'm going to try and do something about this, you know, this technology problem, who else thinks it's bad? It can't just be me, because then if it's just me, then it's not worth building something, right? So I started asking people and quickly realized that a lot of people also shared the same frustrations when it came to group travel. And I remember a conversation with someone I used to go to uni with, and she said to me, I literally avoid group trips at all costs because they're horrible to plan. And I was like, damn, like someone isn't able to experience group travel, community travel, experiencing and sharing experiences with the people that she loves because of a technology problem. It's not because of cost. It's not because of, you know, other factors. It's because the technology is bad. How many more of her exist around the world? 100%. You know, and travel can and does change people's lives. When you do a trip that is really impactful and it's super immersive, I'm not talking about the trips that, you know, you go and sit in a resort for 5 days and you don't ever go and explore the local, you know, the local scene. When you go on a trip that, you know, you meet local people, you try and speak the language, like we were talking off camera about language learning. You know, you try and speak some German or some French or some Hindi or, you know, or some Yoruba, you know, you start connecting with people.
100%.
You know, you try the local cuisine, you know, you go to the local spots, you know, you immerse yourself in the environment. Those kind of trips can come back with you thinking differently. You can pick up new ideas, new ways of looking at life, new recipes, new technologies, new techniques, business, you know. Travel can change lives. So for me, the fact that technology was the blocker for someone's life to be changed, and not just one person, the entire group, it just didn't sit right with me. So I was like, okay, I think there's something here, and it started off the back of that one trip with my friends after uni. So yeah, I just felt like the experience that we had on that Interrail was so beautiful for us. Like we spent so much quality time. And we experienced all sorts of things, like some good, some a bit chaotic, which you can get into if you want to talk about that. Because there's one very funny part of that trip that I still can't believe that happened to us. But you know, we got so close as friends, as brothers, and you know, we shared ideas. We talked about the future, because we just finished uni, so we're talking about what we're going to do next and what, you know, where our lives could potentially go. And having that experience in a foreign country, you know, meeting random people, just playing football in a park in Lyon, and you know, ending up in a boat party and this and that. I was like, more people should experience this, you know, and it shouldn't be a technology blocker, you know. So if you fix the technology, then you get to scale, that experience of travel, and get to scale the love of travel. So the mission for Kahana is to scale humanity's empathy, because we believe that travel is a really, really good tool to build more empathy in a world that is increasingly becoming more disconnected and more hostile. You know, it's very difficult to hold stereotypes, you know, that are negative when you actually go to the country and see that people aren't like that. 100%. You know, and travel does change lives. That's a message I really want to stress because, you know, another example I like to use is people underestimate the businesses that get started because of a trip.
100%.
You know, some of your most popular brands, you know, we're talking Nike, Apple, Notion, Starbucks, you know, Salesforce, you know, those companies were founded as a direct result of the founder going on a trip and seeing something new, literally as a direct result. You know, Starbucks was founded. The Starbucks you know today is because Howard Schultz, the CEO, the ex-CEO of Starbucks, went to Milan on a business trip and discovered Italian culture, discovered Italian coffee culture specifically. He discovered that the concept of a third place, not your home, not your office, somewhere else. They can go and meet people and gist and connect and vibe. And he wanted to bring that back to America. You know, and the original founders of Starbucks said no. They were like, Americans won't like this. Americans they want quick service. They want the Americanos, black, you know, they want to just go and pick up the coffee and dip, you know, they don't really want to do all of that. So the concept of people coming to relax in a place and, you know, it's a very European, you know, Europeans finish work at 5 and they do, you know, whatever, like they you know, they're not working hard, you know, we don't have time for this as Americans. And he was like, no. Like, I think there's something special here. You know, I walked into the coffee shops and I could smell the roasting of the coffee beans. There was a presence about it that you don't get, you know, in the original Starbucks that the original founders had. So he said to them, give me one pop-up shop. Let me try all this and let's see how it goes. And he said, okay, fine. And he did. And it was so successful that the original founders of Starbucks gave him the keys and were like, yeah, run it in this model. And that is literally the model that we have today, as a direct result of a trip to Milan in the 80s. You know, so this is what travel does. And we at Kahana have the opportunity to scale that technology. So that's why we do what we do.
That's perfect. That's wonderful. There's a lot I can break down there, but the first and most important question is, you got to tell me about the story. What's this chaotic thing that happened on the trip?
So we're in the south of France.
Okay.
We had taken the train. So our first stop in the Interrail trip was in Paris. We spent 3 days in Paris staying at a friend's place. And from Paris we went down to Nice. Okay. And it is a beautiful train ride. You know, the train goes down south and it takes a left alongside the Riviera, and it can literally, like, the ocean like opens up. Wow. It's incredible, honestly. I highly recommend. So we get to Nice now. First day was, you know, we're just chilling, getting our bearings, exploring the place. Second day we said, okay, cool. We're in the south of France. Nice, Cannes, Antibes. These are all like towns kind of near each other. You can drive, you know, they're all Riviera towns, right? So we're like, we want to go see Cannes, we want to go see Monaco, we want to go see Antibes, like let's go. So we went to Monaco with the train and wanted to go to Cannes the next day. So we said, okay, cool. Rather than taking the train again, that's kind of boring. Why don't we cycle? So we rent some bicycles and we would ride from Nice to Cannes. It's a 33-kilometer bicycle ride. By the time we got to Cannes, my legs, my back, finished. So I was like, we'll take on the challenge, you know. And my guys were like, oh, let's do it. I was the one that was, I don't know if I'm fit enough to do this. But I was like, I'm not going to be left behind in this. So we rented the bikes and got the helmets and, you know, we started riding. And it was a beautiful ride. Wow. You know, we stopped over in a small beachside town. I'm going to butcher the name, Juan Le Pen. Okay. That's how they pronounce it. Which is in between Nice and Cannes. And then we got to Cannes just as the sun was setting on the beach. Wow. So we sat on the pier, watched the sunset and everything, and it was very beautiful, very very wholesome with my guys. And also very proud of ourselves for actually like completing. It was like a 5-hour bicycle ride. And we stopped over and we, were on the beach and everything, and that was nice. Yeah. So we watched the sunset. We tried to sneak into a Bain and Company beach party, which was very random, but we tried. And then we were like, let's get some food and then let's get the train back to Nice, because the trains could carry bicycles, right? So let's get the train back to Nice, and then we're gonna do dinner and then we're gonna go out. We're gonna go to the club that night. So we get to the train station, and we got some kebab, and then we went to the train station and we're gonna get the last train. And the train driver was like, so the what do you call it, conductor? Was like, oh, in French, basically said like, you can't bring the bags on the train. Oh. We're like, from where to where, guy? Like, what do you mean we can't? Like, we've been seeing people, we went to Monaco and people had bags. Like, what's going on? It was like, no bags. And the train left. And this is like maybe 10:45, 11 p.m. So we're like, what are we going to do now? Bear in mind, we're still a 32-kilometer bike ride away from Nice, from home. And I'm in a gym vest and shorts and a pink helmet. That's all I have, and a little like side bag. Yeah. So we're like, what are we gonna do? So it's okay. Let's try the bus. There's a last bus leaving back to Nice. It's gonna stop at like Nice Airport, and that's like another like maybe 30-minute ride. Okay. Back to our Airbnb, and the bus said no. So we're stranded in Cannes overnight. Because the next one was like at like 5:45 in the morning or something like that, the next morning. Yeah. So I remember going to, all three of us went to go and sit down in front of this like hotel lobby. It was empty, we just sat there. We were like, what the hell are we going to do now? Like, we're just like, And if there's still these bags, it's a 600 euro fine each. So we have to find a way to chain up the bikes, keep them secure, and then just do something for the night. So we ended up going to, we found a place to chain the bikes up within view of us, at this bar. So we went to this bar and we explained to the bar owner, we explained to the bartender, we didn't know who was the owner. We explained to the bartender, like, oh, this is our situation. He started laughing. It was like, yeah, because there's 2 trains that come, that use that track. Yeah. The high-speed train, which is the one we tried to get on, but they don't allow bikes. Okay. And there's a regional trains, which do allow bikes, which is the one we had used to go to Monaco the day before. We didn't know. So he was like, I feel bad for you guys, man. You know what? Shots on the house. Wow. And it was just like spicy Jack Daniels shot. So the guys pouring shots. We're just like, hey, shit, we're here now, innit? Back in shots, just absolutely nothing else to do. Yeah. And then from there, we started talking to this Swiss businessman or something. Like, it's so random. Okay. And then from there, they said, oh, there was this like bar/club thing that opens till like 4:30 in the morning. So we can go there and party's free entry. Okay. Perfect. So we went there, we partied the whole night. And then got the first train back in the morning. Wow. Went home and slept. It was such an adventure, exhausting. Of course. But, we took it in our stride and we were just like, well, we're here now, so we might as well enjoy the experience. Of course. And shout out to my friend Polo. Polo was the one who was driving that, vibe of let's just enjoy it. Like we can't do anything about the fact that we're stranded now, innit? Let's just have a good time. Because I was panicking. So yeah, that was the story.
That's a beautiful story, and like you said, like it shows the interconnection of like travel, because like you said, you met the person at the bar, you got speaking to him, and then from that, like other stuff came. But I think also it was nice because, like you said, like it's a memorable. And like I'm not saying like you for anyone watching, like you should be praying for issues on your travels, but. But it's one of those ones where it's like, it always makes it memorable to look like. And like you said, now you've got an incredible story to say about one that's not only like just linked to, you as a person, but that's also now an incredible example of how your app and like the business that you're developing could address some of these things.
Yeah.
So it just adds another detail to the founder story. This is one of the questions, but when you were talking, this instantly popped up, and I was like, if I could see you doing anything, either sponsoring or partnering with this organization, or you being on the show to promote Kahana, which could work, to be fair, is, have you heard of Race Across the World?
Race Across the World?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
So it's a BBC show. I saw adverts that they were looking to like recruit people, but my brother put me on about it. So they drop I think it's 5 teams of 2, and then they'll basically drop you in, like, you'll go to a destination. You have to go from one country to another, but you've only got maybe like £1,000 to start. So you've got £1,000.
Oh, wait, I think I've actually seen
You've
this.
seen this? You've seen this?
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for anyone watching, if you haven't, this I would recommend. My brother put me on it, and like we were, as a whole family, we dived deep into this, and I could definitely, even off this story, I was like, no, 100%, I can see Felix doing this. So essentially, the way it works is you get dropped off you arrive at a country, and the game show starts that essentially everyone will meet in one central area, and then they're all sent off to open these envelopes, and they basically have to, it's not across the whole world, but they have to travel from different areas. So I've got the board game, and apparently the board game one of the maps is based on the first season. So I think you start in London, and I feel like you have to end up in, no, it's not France. Somewhere else. You go through 4 countries. All I know is that it's like long. And then the most recent season, you started in China, and then you had to end up in, I think, India. So you're traveling, but the travel route, they have checkpoints. So it's not like, oh, cool, I'm going to spend £1,000, I'm going to buy a ticket. There's like checkpoints along the way that everyone has to meet. And essentially, whoever gets there first, you want to get there first, not just because you want to win, but also because the longer it takes everyone else to get to these checkpoints, it's the delay time of like the next person. So let's say like Felix and me are in one group, and there's like another set of people. Felix and I get to checkpoint A, and then the next group don't get there for like another 24 hours. They have to then wait 24 hours after Felix and I have left for the first checkpoint to then leave. And it's wild because like they're dealing with, so like the one that I watched they were in China. So it's different things. You're like, do you pay for high-speed travel, which is going to be more costly, but you know you're going to get there? Do you just take it as like, look, the BBC's essentially paid for you to go on a free holiday, so you're going to just like go explore, you're going to take a slow journey through, you're like, whether we win or not, I don't care, this is a free holiday. Because I think at the end you get like 20,000, so you can get £20,000 towards like, well, you get not towards, you win £20,000. But yeah, man, like I was watching with my family, and I was just like, yeah, no, this is wild. Because like you said, like sometimes with some people, they're just like, oh yeah, we're running for this train. Or like, oh, we need to get on this boat. This boat's going to take us to where we need to go. Boom, out of nowhere. There was was it a tornado? There was there was some weather issue that caused this boat to not move. So it was like tense because you saw these teams like running, and then some of them literally got on, and like the last boat that they were just like, yeah, this is the last time it's safe to cross. Everyone else, you're going to have to stay here for the night. And people are just like, when's the next train or when's the next bus? Can we find it? And it's like chaotic. It's pure chaos. And I'm like, that's what I mean. It's great to watch. I'm like, I could never do this. But I would recommend it as like a fun show to watch. And I could 100% see you doing the show. And I feel like, especially with your business, I can see you winning.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely check it out.
Yeah.
I've been in several situations, traveling, that just... And travel it's like a canvas of life. Like you just build so much experience, and
100%.
like I remember being on a overnight train from Munich to Venice, and we had I was saying about how I was teaching myself German for 3 months before the trip, and I thought my German was good enough to negotiate a sleeper cabin because my friend couldn't speak any German at all, and we got the tickets at the train station, and we got on board, and it was like 2 bunk beds basically. And we're like, cool. So it was like an 8-hour train. It was like, okay, we're good, we're soft, Yeah. And these American ladies then came on and were like, oh, this is our room, and we're like, nah, this is our room. And they're like, no, like, look at our tickets, we check tickets, and we realized like it was the same numbered cabin, but a different section of the train.
Oh.
So we were like at the back of the train where we should have been in the front.
Okay.
Right? What we didn't realize was like that back section.
Yeah.
When the train was going to split in Prague.
Oh no.
No, it was going to split somewhere.
Yeah.
And half of it was going to Prague.
Okay.
And the other half was going to Venice.
Yeah.
We were on the Prague side of the train. So actually, it was a blessing in disguise because we'd end up in a different country that we didn't plan to be in, that we hadn't booked accommodation in. We had no money to be there. So unfortunately, when we now got into our actual cabin, it wasn't sleeper beds.
Okay.
It was like these super uncomfortable chairs that like the back was like 90 degrees. So we had to sleep on this. Like the whole my neck was finished by the time we got to this. It was horrible. You know, so travel just like there's so many adventures and experiences like you just never know who you will meet,
100%,
and who you connect with, and that's why I love it, man. Like it's you know, and I grew up moving around a lot. You know, like I went to 4 different high schools in Nigeria, in different states. Like I've lived in Benue State, I've lived in Lagos. My family's in Abuja right now. I lived in Ibadan. You know, even in London, like I lived in different parts of London, north, south. You know, lived in Birmingham for a year. Like I went to boarding school in the Lake District in Cumbria for 2 years. So I've been around a lot, and like in those experiences, you just it's the connection you make with people that are really powerful.
100%.
And you being empathetic and like seeing life from their eyes. So for example, like because of boarding school, like when I would go to Germany or go to France, like I would stay with my friends' families. And you know, because of that, for example, my friend who lived in Munich, you know, me and my boy stayed with her. And the day we got there, I think the next day was like the last day of school.
Okay.
So like we went to school in Munich for a day.
Nice.
And it was so random because they were just like, who are these guys? Like it's just like I have pictures of it. Like this is some like random black guy and a Chinese guy in a school in Munich.
Yeah.
And everyone was just so cool. They were like, oh, where you from? Like tell us more.
Wow.
They wanted us to practice English, you know, with us and everything. And like we literally hung out for the day in school. Yeah. You know, stuff like random stuff like that, you know? And it's like you don't get to experience that if you don't, one, be proactive about connecting with people and actually really get to know people in a non-transactional way. And then 2, just pick up a bag and like go somewhere. We're so blessed in Europe that travel is relatively cheap for most people. And you can go to France for like, you know, if they have deals, you can go to France for £35 one way, £40 one way. Just go. Like, that's incredible, you know, I really want people to just get out there more. We have to get out of our bubbles. We really have to. Like, it's so important, especially as we're young and we're still learning about the world. Travel has become increasingly important. You know, people say it gets harder the older you get. I don't really assign that belief to myself, to be honest. But one thing I can do is, you know, be able to be in a space where I can learn what I can about technology to make travel more accessible and faster and better, and maybe not particularly cheaper because we don't control the prices for flights and hotels and things. But the experience of planning and booking a trip, you know, can be a lot better, and that's the work that we're doing. But it's not about the technology. It's about what the technology enables.
100%.
And that's where the magic happens.
100%, man. Yeah. Well, that's a beautiful way to... You've been seamlessly working your way through these questions. And I promise Felix hasn't seen this before, because the next one is essentially about, like you said, using technology to turn it in... Using technology to turn chaos into something meaningful. Yeah. So Kahana is built to make group travel seamless. How are you using AI to reduce the back and forth, and what's one feature that changes everything for groups?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I'll answer the first one. So how do we use technology to make it seamless? So essentially, we at Kahana bring together technologies that don't natively work together. So like I mentioned before, the current experience of group travel, in business analysis, we call that the as-is model. So that's the current state. That is a WhatsApp group chat, one website to search for flights, another to search for hotels, and a payment app, you know, or a payment method, right? And all those things happen in different places. You know? So you're not searching in the same place that you're chatting. You're not paying in the same place that you're chatting. It's all happening in different places, right? Which makes it difficult. And again, that exponential complexity that we mentioned before makes the experience not scale very well. So at Kahana, we said, okay, I want to be able to chat in the same place I can search a flight. Because I understand that I don't really need to search 9 websites. Because as a technologist, you know that those things, the flights you're seeing are coming from the same database.
Of course.
And why it's different is because obviously prices fluctuate based on the airlines, right? And the season and everything. And then the cookies and all that stuff, right? And the time you search. There's so many things that, that go into it. But also the different platforms have the different fees as well. So they're called online travel agencies, so they facilitate your ability to find the best deal. But when you see a £600 flight from London to Lagos, right? And Lagos, and over £600, we're talking 3 bags at this point. London to Dubai, for example. When you see that on like an Expedia or one of these booking platforms, like, you tap it and then you see different prices from different providers, right? All of that's coming from one big database in the back end. We said, what if it just connects to the database? Can I chat in the same place I search? And the answer was yes, you can. It just took a while to build it, So with Kahana, you create the trip. Every trip has the ability to search flights from 141 or 2 different airlines, 142 now, because they keep adding them as they, as the partner we use to bring the flights in, grow their portfolio of airlines. 140 plus airlines at the airline prices. So if you're seeing London to Dubai, £600 from Emirates, it's actually from Emirates. So when you see that in Kahana, you can send it to the group chat directly, because every trip in Kahana has its own group chat. And the group chat also is intelligent as well. So we've built an AI in the group chat that has context of your conversation. So you can ask it to remind you of things that you've talked about, you've planned, and you've booked, whatever. And that's going to become more and more agentic, as the technology grows. So you can send the flight to the group chat. And then when you want to book it, you literally just tap the flight from the group chat. It will refresh the data to make sure it's the latest price. And you can just book and pay for it right there and then in one seamless customer journey. So that's breaking down 4 different products into one product, right? And, that's our core customer journey. We call that our group booking engine, right? And the vision is to layer on top of that other things you can book on that engine. So accommodations, experiences. And the long-term vision for Kahana is to be a group travel super app, because we want to also enable wallets as well, where you can save for your trips in Kahana and use that to then pay for flights and hotels and spend in real life too, either individually or as a group. Right? So it's going to become a super app for group travel, and we think it's going to be one of the most successful travel technology companies in the world, and we're working very hard towards that. So that's how the technology works. Right now, you also have a shop as well. So in the same app, you can shop the things you need for your trip. Because I don't know about you, but when you want to buy like a flight from EasyJet or Ryanair, and you find a ticket you like, you want to pay for it. And before you can pay for it, they start upselling you for different things. So you want to get insurance, you want to get this, you want to get that, you want to add this, add baggage, add. And it's, I just want to pay for the damn flight, And, as a technologist, you realize that it's a lot of these providers sell based on anxiety. They want to pressure you into spending more and more. And, we built Kahana from first principles. So that is, what is the core experience that we want to build? Stripped down to its basic fundamental aspects. And then how do I like to be served as a traveler, right? How do I like to be served as a user of technology? So we said, no, we're not going to try and upsell you aggressively at the checkout flow. We're going to create an entire section of the product that is a shop that you can actually get the things you need. So from your skincare to your beauty products to connectivities, you get eSIMs, visas, transports, everything that, even things like clothing, like suitcases, everything that you might need for a trip, curated in one place called a Kahana shop. living in the same place as you planning and booking your flight. For now, it's your flight. I'm going to have hotels a bit later. So that's how technology works. Bring all that into one place, and then also creating the most robust profile section as well. We think in the travel industry. Okay. So if you go to Kahana's profile, and I can show you off camera as well, it's not just your name, update your personal details, whatever. Not just that. You can actually see your past trips, and you can create new ones based on your past trips. We have Kahana stats as well. So when you're onboarding, we ask you, how well traveled are you, basically, how many countries have you been to, and we give you status based on the amount of countries that you've been on. So you capture that. So and then we have badges and rewards and things that we're rolling out as well, just to celebrate people who love to travel in a way that none of the other companies do right now. So that's something we really want to own. We want to make the experience of a travel product so good that you want to use it even when you're not traveling. That's something that we're really passionate about. And I think there was another.
The second part was one
feature
feature that changes everything for groups, but I feel like you've answered.
I've given a bunch of features that change. I think I want to talk about Kahana Wallet because I think that's going to be a big game changer. It came from so the original idea for Kahana actually was an app for me and my friends to save money together to then book flights and hotels for our trips. Okay. Right. At the time, it was a bit difficult for us to execute that. We were new in the industry. I have no background in travel myself. Like I mentioned, I was a business analyst before. So executing that with the technology that we had at the time, it was tricky. And also didn't have enough brand trust as well to say, okay, cool, put your money with our technology, right? But the problem we're solving there is we know that part of the experience of group travel is bill splitting and splitting payments and things. Like, you go into restaurants in Barcelona or something, and someone pays for everybody and it has to settle up after. You split wires and all these different bill splitting apps. I think that's a shit experience, personally. But everyone's so used to it. Actually, one of the big things I get when I tell people about Kahana is, do you guys do bill splitting? It's like, no, we don't. Because we still believe that doesn't actually solve the problem. What we think is better, which is actually what people normally do, is they save for the trip over time. And they use that money in their NatWest account, in their Monzo, in their Revolut, pots or Monzo pots for their trip. Right? But those don't, you can't book a flight from that. No. At least at the time, you couldn't. Now Revolut is a bit more robust. You can book flights and hotels and things like that, which is, I'm a big fan of Revolut, so I think it's pretty cool. But in a travel app, there's no ability for you to put money for your travel in there and then use that to then pay for flights and hotels and then spend in person. So you wouldn't need to settle up at the end if the money's already there and you can spend it directly from the place you've saved it for the trip, right? So that's what we're doing with Kahana Wallet. Can put money together. So every user has an individual wallet. Put money together. You put money in your wallet, however much you want over time. And then when you're ready to book stuff, you can use the money in your wallet to then book it. And then if you want to do stuff together, you can also do that too. So that's a technology that I think is a game changer in the travel industry. On top of all the game changer technologies that we've been developing over time, and it's something that doesn't really exist in the travel industry at the scale that it really needs to. But I think is the most natural, most intuitive way for travelers to enjoy the spending parts of the travel experience as much as the planning and the booking part of the travel experience. And we want to own that experience.
Of course, man. Well, no, I love that. We're gonna go on to the next question, which is about essentially going to market and getting groups to actually adopt a new tool that you implement. So, you've already mentioned that group travel before Kahana, and even for those who don't use it, is messy because it's WhatsApp, it's spreadsheets. So how are you driving adoption? Who's your core user, and what's been your most effective growth lever so far?
Yeah, so So far, we've been targeting kind of people in our demographic, in our age demographic specifically. So that's younger people. Most of our community right now are, I'd say, like mid-20s up to about 40. Young people, tech savvy, typically professionals, but all have a shared love of travel and are savvy enough of technology that they are frustrated by, the current experience of planning and booking group trips. The majority of them are also what we call our trip leads. So that's like the friend in the group who like initiates a group trip, right? Yeah. The planner of the group. So that's been the people that have been supporting us the most as we've been growing as a company and as a community. Kahana is very much a community-focused company because it's group travel and because we see every group as its own mini community. It was very natural for us to build our own community because at Kahana, we're not just solving a technology problem, we're also solving a brand problem. Travelers, I believe, need and deserve a brand that they can really connect with in the travel industry. I've spoken to hundreds of travelers around the world, like travel lovers around the world, about which brands they like in travel, which travel companies they like. They don't really care about any of them. What they do care about is their Gymsharks, their Apples, their Rimowas, these brands that have, even like Notion, these brands that have super, super strong communities that are viral and the community comes together in real life and they connect and they collaborate and they support each other, In travel, people don't care about the travel companies as a brand. If Skyscanner gave you a T-shirt or asked you to come to an event, you're probably not going to come. If Apple, if you have Apple products and they said, oh, come to an event, here's some merch, you're probably going to go. If Gymshark did it, you're probably going to go. Why not Skyscanner? Why not Expedia? Why not Booking.com? And we realize it's because the traveler has a transactional relationship with the brand. Okay. My relationship with a typical online travel agency only goes as far as me getting the cheapest possible flight from them. I don't care about anything else.
No, of course.
And it's because of that behavior that I'm willing to search 9 different websites to then compare which one's the best. There's no brand loyalty. I believe that brand loyalty comes when you build a strong community and you actually care about the community. So from day one, that's what we were doing. We said, yes, it can build a great technology, but if you don't build a community around it, it's going to be difficult to get adoption. And travel has notoriously high go-to-market cost and customer acquisition costs. These brands, we see them all the time. In summertime, Expedia will do like big ads and spend millions and millions of dollars because they're having to acquire their users one by one, right? We're group travel, so we have the benefits of the community aspects of it, and we've been very intentional about building it so that forms the core of our go-to-market. We do events, we do community meetups, travel lovers mixers that we've done, 2 of them here at Somerset House, and shout out to Somerset House for hosting us, the exchange for hosting us, and we just want people to come together around a shared love of travel, and the technology just enables that. We're not, forcing the app in people's faces. We're not asking people to download the app before they come. We're saying, just come, meet people who also love to travel. You might meet someone who wants to go to the same place you're going to, in the same month you're going there. Maybe you go together. And you can go together using Kahana as your choice. Again, low anxiety, low pressure. We're just, the tech is there, but the community is the soul of the technology. And for us, that's very important. It helps strategically. It helps with the brand. It also helps with keeping us as a team going. Because when things get tough, and they get tough in entrepreneurship all the time, when things get tough, you have to remember why you're doing it. And the people that you do it for, your customers, your community, your supporters, your early users, your testers, that's your why.
100%.
You're trying to get those people to use technology that will allow them to experience the world together. So when things get tough, we remember that we have a community. We're almost 600 people now in the community globally.
That's incredible.
Thank you. And we built that all organically. We didn't pay a single dime to onboard people to the community. We just said, oh, like, we love to travel. Do you love travel too? Please come. Let's connect. Let's meet each other. So I'm very, very grateful and appreciative of the community. We call them the Kahana Explorers. That's the name of the community.
Nice, man.
I'm very appreciative of them because they've really been, from day one, giving us feedback, been patient with us as well, because it's been a difficult journey building technology and getting the product out there. They've been patient. They've been real with us. They've come to events. They've celebrated with us. And they pour into us, and that's what keeps us going. But that's a core part of our go-to-market, and I think it's a really interesting differentiator at scale, because group travel scales very, very well. And we've seen that at the micro level, in our early days, and we can see how well that's growing already. So we're looking forward to seeing how that progresses with our next launch that's coming very, very soon.
Well, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm excited to see what the future will bring.
Me too. It's about damn time, It's about damn time.
But for the next question, this is actually, instead of looking to the future, this is actually looking at your past. So you've helped build and run the MSD UK Accelerator.
Yes.
Backed by big corporations.
Yes.
I would like to know, what did that experience teach you about what founders really need? And how does that shape how you build Kahana today?
That's a good question. What did that teach me about what founders really need? Money. Money. It's one thing to build a program that gives you the support and the tools and the network to progress in your founder journey and to scale your company. And the work we did at MSD UK was I'm so proud of the work we did. It became one of the top accelerator programs, in Europe, focused on ethnic minority founders. And at the time, I don't know if it's been a while since I've been there. I don't know if it's still backed by these guys, but it was backed by Unilever, Dow, Google, and WPP. And the whole premise of that was to get entrepreneurs to the stage where they can easily fit into the supply chain of these big companies and more big companies. Meta was a big partner at the time as well, because the big companies wanted to work with underrepresented founders. They wanted to diversify their global supply chains, but they felt like a lot of the founders in our communities weren't robust enough, weren't at the level where they could easily do business with them. I mean, some of these are big contracts, So the Accelerator program was an extension of the great work of MSD UK and the team, the team there. So shout out to those guys. What that taught me was money is important. A lot of founders are over-mentored and underfunded and undercapitalized.
Yes.
You can give me all the knowledge that I need, but unfortunately, the world wants entrepreneurs to, create magic on a regular basis, and it's stressful. And with capital, you get the freedom, the mental clarity, and the tools to execute better, and to execute at a higher level, and to grow faster. You can have 25 sessions on pitching and fundraising, but if there's no money, it's tough. So what that told me was we saw a lot of amazing entrepreneurs who just didn't really get the chance to do big things and had the potential to do big things, but they didn't get a chance to because they didn't have the funding. And they're building great businesses that with funding could really make an impact in our societies, and they just didn't. They struggled, and that was that was tough to watch. You know, it was tough to watch. And as an entrepreneur who, you know, has angel investors and has raised some angel money, you know, has done fundraising, has attempted VC, you know, mostly unsuccessfully. I'll be very candid, you know, on here. It's hard, but it's the capital that you need to really grow. And it is annoying when you see, you know, other founders who honestly aren't building anything that positively impacts society. 100%. Get, you know, significant funding to put nonsense into the world.
You're not lying.
Let's be frank. You know, so I'm just like there are too many good entrepreneurs, great entrepreneurs out there who don't get the chance to be even greater, don't get the chance to put something amazing into the world because of a lack of capital.
I get that.
You know, so that's something that MSD UK really taught me. You know, there's not a lack of capital out there. It's just how that capital is allocated. That's the challenge, and that needs to really change. You know, so that we can stop funding nonsense and rubbish. You know, and give great founders a chance to be even greater.
Amen.
Yeah, the world deserves it.
Amen.
So yeah, that's it was a big lesson at the time, but I'm proud of the work that we did at MSD UK. I'm proud of the founders that we supported. I don't know how many cohorts there are on now, but I think it must be like 7 or 8 or something. You know, and it was a stressful time building building it and launching the first cohort, and I was personally responsible for building the mentorship network as well. You know, it was a very small team. I mean, it was only 3 or 4 of us at the time. You know, who launched the Accelerator program, and yeah, I learned a lot, but also learned how to execute better. My manager at the time, you know, would tell me that I'm a bit too perfectionist in my approach, and he would always say, you know, done is better than perfect. You know, stop tinkering with the long tail of the work. Yeah, you know. You're optimizing. Just get it out, get it done. You can still improve after that. And when you're building technology, you have to move fast. It's very, very important to move fast. So if you're spending 6 months on your products that you should have spent a month on and launched and gotten real feedback from customers, then you know you're going to be struggling. And I've been there. I've made those mistakes, and I'm happy to say like I'm growing out of it. And I've made lots of progress in that. So, but that lesson was directly from my experience at MSD UK.
That's incredible.
Thank you, man.
And yeah, it's clear to see how, like you said, through the lessons you've learned, you've not only implemented those changes in yourself as a founder, but also in the way that you operate, the way that you carry yourself, the way that you support others. We do have a final question, and then you can ask me any questions that you'd like.
Yeah.
But before I ask you this final question, it's a question that's been at the back of my mind and should have been the first and most important question I asked.
Oh, shit, okay.
What is your favorite trip that you've been on?
Ooh. Favorite trip? Oh, that's a tough one. Favorite trip? You know what? Oh, there's so many different. There's like favorite. There's most life-changing. There is.
Do you want me to be lenient and give you a top 3?
Yeah.
Okay, you can do a top 3.
I'll do a top 3.
You can do a top 3.
Favorite group trip specifically, was probably last year when my friends and I, like 10 of my friends, we all went to Paris for Fête de la Musique.
Oh, sick.
And for me, with Kahana, it was a test bed for our AI technology that we were going to launch for this December in Nigeria. We call that Lagos Sports. So we launched Paris Sports, just within the community that we went with. And it was incredible, man. I mean, I love Paris. You know, I love the architecture. Big fan of Haussmannian architecture. I think Paris is beautiful. Obviously, it's still very rugged and it smells, you know, for the most part. But just there's something about it. You know, I tried to move to Paris 3 times.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing. That trip was just beautiful because it was the first trip I did with my friend, like my uni friends. You know, and we never traveled together before. And we did, and it was just incredible. You know, just exploring, you know, the food. We did a tour of Sacré-Cœur and Montmartre and everything, which is really nice. The views from there are incredible. Great food. One of my guys, you know, had a full-blown crepe addiction. When he was there, every small thing, yo, man, them, can we get a crepe? Can we get a crepe? I'm like, we're just like, bro, like, calm down. If you listen to this, you know yourself. You know yourself. Crepe master. So, you know, just exploring the food and, you know, the language as well. Like, I've been learning French and being able to, you know, have small conversation, you know, in different places. It's built my confidence up as well that, you know, my French is improving. Yeah. And just, again, the food. We went to this, I took my friends to this restaurant. I recommended a restaurant that we all then went to called Wali Fay, or Wali Fay, I don't know how you pronounce it. And it's a Senegalese restaurant in Paris, and it's incredible. I highly recommend it for anybody in Paris if you like Senegalese food. The soya, the aloko, the peanut stew. Don't even get me started. Wali Fay, shout out to you. You know, and so I think that was, and then the music, obviously, we went there for a music festival. But if anybody doesn't know Fête de la Musique, it's basically like Paris Music Festival. Like the entire city is just music. Wow. It's free. Just every street corner, from small ones to major boulevard, it's just vibes. Wow. Every year in the summer, I think it's in June, it's absolute vibes. You know, so just going there, discovering new sounds. You know, like we would go from one street and it'd be like classical French music. Then we'd go to another street and it's hip hop. The next street is Afrobeats, Nigerian Afrobeats. The next street it's like French drill. The next street it's you know it's music from the French Caribbean. You know, it was amazing, and just meeting people and just, you know, it was incredible. So that for me was my favorite trip. Okay. The most life-changing trip, though, in terms of like my professional career, was a trip I did to Silicon Valley in 2017 with my friends. It was a university trip. So my university, De Montfort University, has something called DMU Global, and it's essentially a travel bursary for academic-led trips. Wow. So you can get up to £400 at the time to fund a trip based on your academic track. So the trip I went on was entrepreneurship and technology in Silicon Valley. And the year before, I was interning at Bosch in Worcester. I had discovered the world of Silicon Valley and technology. And I had started my first tech startup that year, 2016. So when the uni said we had a chance to go to Silicon Valley, I was like, I have to be on that. And it was a master's trip. Wow. And I was an undergrad. So we found a way to, you know, wrangle and attach ourselves to the trip. So we went, and the itinerary was, you know, spending time at Google's headquarters, you know, spending time at Stanford University. And if people don't know, Stanford is basically the university, the home of the most world-class entrepreneurs. You know, the founders of Snap and NVIDIA, and like Google, like all went to Stanford, right? So we spent time there with the students at the design school. We went to Twitter's headquarters. We went to a startup called Pixie. That was the first time I tried augmented reality. You know, we went to TED Talk. We were meeting very seasoned entrepreneurs. You know, met the founder and CEO of Calm, Michael Acton Smith. You know, super nice guy. You know, he spoke to us on a one-on-one basis, like really cool guy. And we stayed in touch over the years as well. We met the youngest ever venture capitalist in America. He was 16 years old, and he was managing a fund. You know, so that trip, you know, just inspired me to build. I was meeting young entrepreneurs who were taken very seriously. You know, so what came out of that directly was a startup that I co-founded with my friends called Ideas Lab Global. And that was specifically to support student entrepreneurs building businesses at university. We felt like universities in the UK didn't take student founders seriously, and we needed them to because there's a lot of talent. And in the US, we were meeting, freshmen and sophomore students who were raising money for startups, fintech startups, things like that. We were like, what? I met a guy on a train who, we were just chopping it up and, having a good time, getting to know each other on the train. He had just finished his undergrad at Oxford and then had come back home to San Francisco to start a company and he called it the next version of Excel at the time. Okay. I'll never forget that. And that company later went on to be called Retool. And Retool is worth, as of last, when I checked, $5.5 billion. And we met the founder as a fresh grad on the train. Wow. Yeah, so we're meeting entrepreneurs all over the place. It was very, very inspiring to, to one, go to Stanford, spend a day there, and then go to Google, which was founded by 2 Stanford PhD students. It's like you come out to university and you can build a business that is this big. Like, that's amazing. And it's all in the same place. So I came back really fired up and we founded Ideas Lab. And it was a community, of founders around the world who wanted to learn how to build companies. And we supported some student founders who've gone on to build very successful businesses. And then the combined valuation of the startups of the founders that were in our community is at this point is definitely more than $100 million. Wow. And we have an Instagram page called Ideas Lab Global. Please check it out. We put out content to help people build knowledge on how to build startups. 3 days ago, I think, or 4 days ago, we crossed 70,000 followers on the page. So I'm very proud of the work that we've done with Ideas Lab. But that came out of my trip from to Silicon Valley. And that trip changed my life, changed my perspective. It made me realize that the institutions that we interact with, the technologies that we interact with, real people build them. Apple was built by a 22-year-old. Google was built by PhD students. Somerset House was built by somebody. This microphone Rode, somebody started a company. Like YouTube, somebody started that. So like people start the things that we take for granted every day. And when they start it might seem silly. Like it might just seem like, oh, like that guy or that babe is just doing this thing, and then 2, 5, 10 years down the line, it becomes a big thing, and it makes an impact in people's lives. So because I'm a visual learner, and seeing that visual was very, very powerful for me. So I'd say that was my most life-changing trip on a professional basis. But Fred de la Musique was my favorite group trip with my friends.
That's perfect, man. All right, we've come to the official last question, which is you kind of actually. You may have already answered it, so I'm going to let me know if you feel like you've answered this. But it was specifically on Ideas Lab Global. So you mentioned, you built this student founder community and partnered with universities and local government. The question was essentially, what have you learned about building community-led ecosystems? And how do you turn that into real outcomes, whether this is jobs, investment, growth of the businesses?
Yeah. That's a good question. I would say it all comes down to people. One of the early things we did with Ideas Lab was, as a team, we sat down and we talked about our values. And we wanted to do a very robust values alignment. Because we knew that we couldn't help the founders the way we wanted to if we ourselves aren't aligned to what it is. So there was a decision. I remember this example. There was a decision that we had to make where we were thinking about how we're going to make some money with Ideas Lab. And we were saying, well, we can let businesses advertise on our platform because they're looking for employees. So we can turn it kind of like into a job board. So these young, ambitious entrepreneurial students can find jobs. And that was a big debate because we were like, well, the whole purpose of this thing is for students to realize they can be the employers. So why are we allowing companies to advertise jobs on a platform that we're trying to teach people how to build businesses? We need to teach them how to be employers, not employees. There are other platforms that do that already.
100%.
But the whole mission for this is to democratize access to entrepreneurship for 1 million students around the world. That was the mission of Ideas Lab. And it just felt like we're straying from that if we started to talk about, the job market and, how to find a great job. Like just, at that point we're like career advisors. And we wanted to be entrepreneurship advisors. So we did a values exercise and we realigned ourselves, and we never allowed any discussions about finding a job in the platform to this day. This is going back like 2020, 2021. I'm very proud of that because you have to really know yourself to stick to the mission.
Of course.
And if we had strayed from that, then we would have been giving mixed messages to the founders in the program, and that would have diluted the value that we bring to the community, and also diluted the trust that we started to build with the founders as well. Some of the founders, like, we introduced them to their first co-founders, to their first CTOs, to their first investors. And these companies have gone on to do really, really well. So what that told me about building communities is it's communities are people. You have to actually spend time with the people, get to know them,
of course.
Talk to them, host events, right? Really understand, like, see the world from their perspective. And at the time, it was easier because we weren't that far removed from them. We were maybe like a year or two out of uni. So we knew what the student ecosystem looks like, sounded like. So that also fed well into our marketing. So we literally had like big organizations reaching out to us, trying to understand like how we were attracting these entrepreneurs, because they couldn't figure it out. And we were like, well, we just talk to them like we're them, because we're basically still them. Like we're like 2 years older than them, whatever. So the language you use when you craft your community is very, very, very important. It's the reason why the Kahana community is called Kahana Explorers. The whole idea is for us to explore the world together. So you have to speak to them in the language that they understand, and use the terminology that they use, to make sure you're really connecting with them as human beings. But people know when you're doing that and it's fake. So you actually have to like them.
No, 100%.
And these things are not complex. They're quite simple. Like, you just have to care, And if you care, you build a strong community.
100%.
If you don't care, you might still build a community, but it'll be very transactional.
100%.
Yeah, and that's not what community is all about.
100%.
And there's a difference between community and customer, which is a whole other thing. We get into that off camera. But knowing that difference is extremely important as an entrepreneur.
100%.
So that we learned those lessons, and I learned those lessons early on with Ideas Lab, because Ideas Lab predated Kahana. So I took those lessons with Ideas Lab, and I used them and leveraged them to then build the Kahana community. It's a lot smaller than the Ideas Lab community, but the intimacy of the community is very, very strong. And people, when they come to events, they're surprised how open we are. Like, I remember our first community event that we did in, I think it was Be At One in Temple.
Okay.
And we literally, like, I went off stage, I went in front of everybody, I had a mic, and I was talking about the vision for Kahana and the trip that inspired it. And we had our prototype app at the time. And I was like, well, we're going to do something kind of wild. I'm going to give someone in this crowd the phone and the mic, play with the app in real time, and give us feedback in real time in front of everybody.
Okay.
Just to show you that we're not scared. We're here to make mistakes and get better. And the closer we are with you as a community, the better we can be as builders, because we understand exactly what you want. But we're not going to just build what you say. We're going to marry that with our own intuition, what we've learned as technologists, and we're going to build something that makes sense for everybody, within our community. So, but it just comes down to actually caring. I care about the Kahana community because I love travel and they love travel. So we come together and everybody can love travel together.
Wow. Yeah. That's incredible, man.
Thank you, man.
Well, essentially, we don't have that much time left, but this is your opportunity. I will give you the opportunity to ask me one question. One question, if you have one. If you don't have a question, that's okay.
I have a question.
Yeah, okay. Hey. All right, let me know the question.
You give me the floor.
So I'll give you the floor. I'll give you the floor. All right, let me know the question.
So you said you're celebrating your anniversary.
Yes.
Of this amazing show. Shout out to you.
Thank you, man.
For building this platform and giving entrepreneurs the opportunity to share their story.
Appreciate it.
Very much appreciate it. That's two questions actually.
Okay.
One, what's the biggest lesson you've learned from building this show?
Mm.
And building the network.
Mm-hmm.
And two, what do you think will be your biggest challenge when you look towards the next milestone journey for you?
Lesson learned, I think, is a clear one. Is just basically like get started. So I think a lot of people see the weather, like, especially with like the fact that we do podcasting, events, we've got a media site, all of this stuff. They see all of that and they're like, cool, this is them at year 5. This must have been like how the journey started. And I'm like, no, this started in 2021. Like me, my 2 friends, we were doing this over Zoom. Like you can go back and check out like, I think for one of our other podcasts that we do, the second season, like we brought in video and we were just like, look, this is over Zoom. Like we can't record in person. None, like people think you also need to be an expert. Like none of us knew media stuff. None of us had done podcasting before. But I approached my friends and I was like, look, I've got this thing that I think could work. And like, let's just interview people. Let's talk about topics, collectively share advice. I was like, I'll lead on most of it, but I would love for you guys to contribute and help. They're just like, yeah, sure, let's do it. So I think my biggest thing is that it's just like you don't need it's something that's stuck with me a lot since the beginning of this year, which is that you don't need to start to be great, but you need to. You don't need to start to be great. No, you need to. It's been a long day, man.
It's fine.
Basically,
you need to.
You don't need to start to be great.
Wait, they confuse me.
Essentially, what I'm trying to say is, to be great, you need to get started.
Yeah.
And essentially, like, I feel like that's the biggest thing that stops people, whether it's with creating their own content, starting a business, like pivoting their career. Everyone's like, oh, everything needs to be perfect. The stars need to be aligned. Like, I need like a bright neon sign from God, basically being like, this is what you need to do with your life.
No, I need $1 million.
You need, honestly, and it's just like, no, like you said, like every business doesn't necessarily start with loads of money in the bank and it's like fruitful. Yeah. It's like, cool, someone's like, actually, this is a pain point. This is an issue. This is a struggle. This is something I'm going through. How can I address this? So I'm like, that's all you need. You just need to like get started and just to, like you said, and I love that story of just getting feedback as you go along. So you might be like, cool, I'm doing something like, I don't know, let's say you're doing like a media business. You could be doing stuff in the beginning and you're like, actually, you know what? I guess that's a perfect thing. Like, there's this person I met in an event and he was doing like so he basically almost, not the same as this, but similar. So he basically booked out a room and he was like, cool, what I'm going to do is for attendees of your event, I'm going to give them the opportunity to record a 20-minute podcast. And it can be on whatever they want, and I will interview them. If they give me questions, I'll ask them questions, and if not, then I'll talk to them. And he was like, cool, my thing is, you come to this event, we'll interview you, and then basically you now can say you've been on a podcast, because I created this 20-minute audio clip of you talking and answering a question. And I was talking to him about how he and his, I think it was his brother, got into like podcast, like doing this as a business. And he was like, actually, we're not podcasters. Like, we didn't start and think podcasting production is what we want to go into. They were actually videographers and photographers who had all this equipment and were just like, well, we see that the world's going towards podcasting. Like, loads of people are starting podcasts. They want to get into that space. Well, why don't we just run it as a service? We've got the camera equipment and we know most people prefer video than audio. So now that we've got the video, let's just buy podcasting microphones and call it a day. Yeah. And they were just like, we've already actually got some pretty decent... So I think when they started, they didn't have like, I guess they might not necessarily have had mics like this, but they're just like, oh, we've got like clip-on microphones that are good enough that we use for the videography and filming that we've done before. So why not just do this, call it a day? So that's why I was just like, people always feel like you need to, like, where you see businesses are now is how they started, or even how they'll be in the future. And that's not. It's a case of really just being like, what is the most simplest, and like I learned that through someone that we both know, and he's been on the podcast as well, Akil, which he's always like, what's the most simplest version of what your long-term goal may be? And just really like simplify it and break it down. So if you do want to start, I don't know, like a media studio, or you want to run, let's say, your own content hub in a building and you want to rent somewhere, okay, you might not be able to afford renting out a studio space. But what's the most smallest version you could do that? Could it be that instead of that, it's, you know, if you're a uni student, you know that you can potentially book some rooms for free, or you can book, if you're on a society committee, you can host events for free. So do you use the events you host as a society to build a proof of concept? So then you can be like, oh, hey, university, I've been able to do these events as a society, and it's worked really well. I'm about to graduate. It's been amazing working with you. I would love to propose this as a business so we can then essentially support your students in a better way. Is it reaching out to reaching out to a co-working space and being like, hey, I see that you guys have a lot of people who specialize in podcasting. I know that you don't have an in-house podcast studio, so I would love to build a studio, like you guys front the bill for the studio, I can front the bill for the equipment, and then essentially I'll run my studio through there, I will subsidize costs for your community, and then I'll just essentially like, my rent can be taken out as a part of whatever fees I'm charging people. So I might charge people, I don't know, £80 an hour to record a podcast in my studio. Let's say like, let's say I'll charge them 120. Let's say £40 goes towards like covering the rental costs of me being in the space. Yeah. So yeah, just start really small and then just see how it can grow as you go along. Yeah. Your second question about challenge. Going forward. Yeah, going forward. I think, like, I think essentially, I'm at, like, 5 years is great, doing it as a business, and it's wonderful. And it's something that I know, it's been in the back of my mind for a long time, and I think in this last week I've been thinking about it more, is essentially I'm at a stage where, like, I can't do it by myself anymore. So, yes, I do have, like, family who help volunteer from time to time, and I've got friends who also volunteer too, but essentially, the ultimate thing is I need someone, or people, who are, like, cool, I'm, like, in it, like they're here for pick up the mic. They're not necessarily volunteers, or like even if they are volunteers, it's like people that I know, like, oh cool, if you're gonna do like photography for me, I know if I call on you, you can always do photography or videography. If you're gonna, I don't know, host one of the podcasts, I know you can be a podcast host if I can't do it, or if I'm like unavailable, or if it's an online recording and I'm like, cool, I don't really like have the capacity to record it, but I can just be in the background and like support you delivering it. And if you feel like you need me to be there too, I can be there too. That's essentially where I'm at. I'm at a stage where the biggest challenge will be I can't do everything for my business now. I need to start to offset, even the video editing. Like I don't mind the video editing, and I use tools like you mentioned, like there's AI tools, there's Autopod, which we use, which if this video is working as it should, you should have seen multiple like cuts and different camera angles, and that's basically how it comes about. And yeah, essentially like I use Autopod because I was like, oh, before when I was doing it, it was the worst thing ever. I'd have to, well, it sounds harsh, but like I would watch the podcast, or I'd record the podcast, and then I'd have to watch it. And then with Adobe, there's like a multicam button thing. So you set it up, and then you have to be like 1, 2, and 3 on your keyboard if you've got 3 cameras. And then you have to be like, okay, switch to camera 1, switch to camera 2, switch to camera 3. And then it got to a point where like, I was like, okay, cool. The camera's like just going to be switching quickly between me and this person because I'm, like, we may just be saying things off the bat and we're, like, bouncing off each other. Yeah. But I don't need, like, I don't have the capacity to be like, cool, like, 1 second, it's on Felix. Next second, Jeffrey, Felix, Jeffrey. I was just like, this is just getting tedious. But now with this software, I can do it. And it saves me time. Because now, instead of, like, a 1 hour video, or even an hour and a half video, and me having to essentially, after syncing all the audio and videos and whatever, to then re-go through that, which could take another, let's say, double whatever the time the video is, I can then literally just put this on Autopod within like, 5 minutes? Like, it can chop it up for me with different camera angles. I can review it, and then I can be like, cool, export the video. Video exportation takes like an hour and a bit. So now I've literally reduced my editing time by so much. So I think that's what it is. It's the challenge is having to delegate and find tools and stuff that can help me to spend time focusing more on the development of the business as it goes on in year 5 and above.
Yeah.
And now just really focusing on doing those things, like the strategy side of things. Because I think essentially, like the last 5 years is, and this is a part of the strategy as well. I need to work on an impact report at some point for this year, which is fun. But I need to, but yeah, I think that's the thing. I think a lot of people think that like the proof of concept needs to be like it needs to be a quick turnover. So it's like, cool, my first 6 months, I need to develop this strong thing and have and it's just like, no, like for me, I personally see it that where we are now is definitely not where I would have thought 5 years ago we would be, but it's not like I'm happy where we are. I'm very happy about it. I'm grateful for it. But I'm like, cool, wherever things are going to go in the future, I need to have the time to know that I can do those things. So it's no longer that the business feels like it's stagnant. It's like each year the business is growing as it's done in the past. Yeah. Which is what I'm working on at the moment. And it's definitely getting to that stage too. So yeah, those would be my 2 things. Perfect, man.
Again, well done.
Thank you.
Congratulations on the growth and
thank you.
Congratulations on the future growth as well.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that.
And also helping.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Well, this is where we wrap up and we say a huge thank you to Felix for coming on. Thank you very much. This is your opportunity. In every episode that we do, guests like yourself have the opportunity to plug what they're doing. Yeah. Now, I always caveat this by saying that the episode may not come out immediately. So I would say, I think you can talk about all the stuff coming in the next few months.
Yeah.
If there's anything people should be keeping an eye out for, how can people connect with you?
Yes.
How can they download the app? How can they join the community? All of this stuff. This is your opportunity to discuss.
Again, thank you for having me.
Very welcome.
This has been fun. It's been a privilege as well. It's also a privilege to have a platform to share the work that my team and I are doing at Kahana. We will be launching Kahana 2.0 this month.
Nice.
And rolling out, through Q2. So keep an eye out for that. I will be sharing details to you personally. Probably from next week or in a week and a half, we're going to start doing some heavy user testing. Okay. So looking forward to seeing how people use and break products. So yeah, I'm personally excited for that. We've been working on this 2.0 journey for a while now. It's a complete rebrand of the products, new designs, much better designs. We're working with some incredible, genuinely world-class designers and design leaders to make sure this is something special. New logo, new brand card, everything. We upgraded everything. Technology is much more robust as well now. So you can find Kahana on the App Store, Apple App Store. We're not on Android just yet. We will be bringing it to Android soon. But right now we're prioritizing iOS. So you can check out Kahana on the App Store. Kahana, Kahana, t-shirt. We also are on Instagram. So it's Kahana_HQ. It's Kahana_HQ on Instagram. So you can check out some work there. You can also follow me at Felix Ochefu, Felix Ochefu, on Instagram. I'm also on LinkedIn as well. It's Felix Ochefu as well on LinkedIn. You see me. And yeah, happy to connect. And if anyone wants to learn more about Kahana, the work that we're doing, if anybody is interested in investing, you might have some investors in your network or raising funding as well. Raising our seed round, so looking forward to that too. Because we talked about capital earlier. Yes. So at some point in the life cycle of a company, you don't need the capital to then scale up properly. So I think we're at that point. Okay. So quite excited about the next few months. So yeah, please connect with me. Let's talk. If you want to be part of our user testing sessions as well, you can connect with me too. I can bring you in. They're going to be in person though. So yeah, that's a caveat. And for the community, right now we'll have a temporary website because we're rebuilding our website. So it's joinkahana.framer.website. And you can sign up to the community there. And you get all our comms and everything. And you'll be the first to know when the new version does launch. Because we're launching this community first. get first dibs on the product, and then from there, roll out.
That's perfect.
So yeah, thank you for having me, man. It's been a pleasure. It's been fun.
You're very welcome, man. I really appreciate it. And thank you to you, our wonderful audience, for coming back. If you like this episode, like, comment, subscribe is always appreciated. If you want to make sure you don't miss any other episodes of The Hustle Chronicles or anything else on the Pick Up the Mic YouTube channel, please make sure you click the notification bell at the bottom of the video, which will alert you when new episodes and content drops on this channel. If you want to support our services and you want to receive some early content and discounts on our merch and events, you should check out our Patreon. Well, there's 3 ways you can do this. You can either join our Patreon page, you can join our YouTube channel membership, or you can join our Buy Me a Coffee page, all linked down below, and you can support us for the price of 1 coffee. So you can give up 1 coffee a month and support us in our endeavors. And then finally, if you are interested in being aware of, actually there's 2 things actually. So 1, if you are interested in sci-fi, fantasy and gaming, as 3 separate things. We have 3 additional YouTube channels that you can check out. So that is Sci-Fi and Fantasy is The Two Maesters with Joshua and Morgan. Gaming is Pick Up the Controller. And finally, anime is Senseis of Anime. Yes, we do have t-shirts for those channels as well. I'm not wearing my Pick Up the Mic t-shirt today, but we will have a cool design which links to the last thing I'm going to say as well. So keep an eye out on our social media to find out a bit more. And then very finally, as we've kind of discussed, so yes, this week is 5 years of Pick Up the Mic. At the point of recording, I'm saying that I am incredibly tired, so I have not recorded the video that I wanted to have by the end of this week. So hopefully by the time this episode is out, you would have seen said video. If you haven't, I'll make sure it's included somewhere on the screen so you can check that out. But yes, we will be doing a celebration for this later on in the year, so keep an eye on the space. We, of course, want to celebrate it with you, our incredible community. 5 years is a big achievement. Not most businesses don't get past year 1 or 2, so to be able to say that we've gotten to 5 is incredible. So yeah, keep an eye on the space. We'll be doing a big celebration. We have an interesting, I don't want to say much. We've got a cool host. We've got some cool activities, and it will be different to what it was last year. So as I have previously said, I will not be doing a panel talk because I don't want you guys to hear from me. I do enough episodes where you can learn about how Pick Up the Mic has started, and if you haven't watched those, I definitely recommend to head to the channel and watch those. And I also, while having done an award ceremony last year to give flowers to our community, we will still be doing an element of that in this new event, but we wanted essentially to celebrate you, our community. So keep an eye on the space. We've got some fun stuff coming with that, as well as some other events throughout the year. So just make sure you subscribe to our pages and you'll see all of that content soon. But yeah, we're going to wrap up this episode of the Hustle Chronicles. Thank you very much. We will see you all in a year's time, where Felix comes back to tell us about how Kahana has developed. So
yeah, I'll have lots to tell.
I'm excited, man.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks for watching.
See you later.
Take care. Bye-bye.